Hi, Abe.
Hi, Mario.
Welcome back. How was the
Thank you.
flight?
Very good. Very good.
Good.
Yeah.
You
A lot
don't,
of
you
shine.
don't, you don't get jet lag?
Um, I don't know. I don't sleep much on the plane itself,
Oh,
but I was okay.
well, you watch movies or something?
And I was reading a crazy book by Kash Patel.
Oh, the FBI director?
Yeah, he wrote it around 2 or 3 years ago.
Hmm. So what is our writer? How do you call a guy who writes papers? The Soifer?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
Oh,
I don't know where Ernie gets the time and the energy.
I don't know either.
Like it's amazing,
Yeah,
just
it's
amazing.
outrageous. Oh, Johnny, you're back.
I'm back.
Where were you?
I was in New York.
Ah,
Yeah, nothing exciting. I'm so tired. Don't be surprised if I fall asleep.
No.
just don't snore.
What? What's new?
I won't snore, and if I do, I'll put it on silence.
I want you to know that Abe just arrived from Hong Kong and is fresh as a lettuce.
Oh yeah? Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, because he left, when did you leave Motzei Shabbos, right?
I left Mr. Chavez, yes. I left Mr. Chavez, got there Monday morning and left Thursday.
Huh.
Back Thursday.
You were just
Wow.
there for 2 days?
No, I was there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and part of Thursday.
Oh, wow. Very good.
Yeah.
So, wie alt men?
68, 68.
Better than business?
68.
Yeah, it's a short
It's a short
one.
one. Oh, good. Maybe I won't fall asleep this time.
Hello, Mario.
Oh, you read
Yeah.
How are you?
marketing?
Okay, good.
Hello, how are it?
Hi,
Hey,
you back home? Hey,
I'm back home. I'm back home.
that's unbelievable, no?
Yeah.
What time did you leave? 4 o'clock this afternoon? In 4 o'clock,
No, actually, I left 11, 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock in Hong Kong time. Okay, welcome back.
Thank you.
Ernie, Mazel Tov, Ernie.
Yeah, the big cipher.
Is
yeah. Don't
still
we get a
late, he's writing
complimentary issue?
Sforim.
You all get complimentary copies when they arrive. Absolutely.
Okay.
No, we want the
So,
What is this,
autograph.
a continuation of Patsua Daka?
No, these are divrei Torah that I've given over the last 20, 30 years in shul and all the various divrei Torah on Parsha and on Moadim.
Wow.
Wow.
By the way, a lot of it is Rabbi Krauss. I've been keeping I would, if I heard something very good that I heard from Rabbi Krauss at Shalosh Shudas or wherever over the last 20 years, I would, Motzei Shabbos, I would write it down and elaborate and extend it and more chidushim on it, etc. And I give a lot of, I mention Rabbi Krauss as, because he gave over Torah from Rav Moshe Wolfson, Rav Pam, Rav Kamenetsky, from 50, 60 years ago that nobody's seen. I quote it in the name of Robert Krauss. A lot of it is my stuff. Some of it is stuff I heard over the years from, or let's say Rav Schechter came to shul somewhere, or anybody over the years. If I heard something really good, I incorporated it.
Wow.
So I think it'll
Very
be interesting for people. And it's some of it's Litvish, some of it's Hasidish. It's like a little bit like Or Gedalyah. That's why I called it Or Elimelech.
Let me ask you, when are you leaving to Israel?
We're leaving next Wednesday, God willing.
Okay.
We're going to be there for Thanksgiving. Hi, George.
How are you?
So I'll get some copies because it's published in Israel. So I'm going to get some copies.
Mazel
Otherwise,
tov.
thank you. I'll bring some copies home, whatever I can fit. But I'll get the major shipment will come probably in 2 or 3 weeks. Yaakov already has a few hundred copies in Yerushalayim, which will be distributed there. Okay, Samech Zayin. But yeah, it's many year project.
Zayin, not Samech Ches.
Samech Ches, I'm sorry, Samech Ches. We did Samech Zayin yesterday. So we talked about when two women have given birth, and you have to bring a pair of birds, Chatas and an Ola, and then sometimes though somebody also, when they give birth, when they're in childbirth, they might go ahead and make a neder and say, if I come through this safely, I'm going to give a donation, a neder, 2 olos. That was the standard. If they made a neder, they would bring 2 birds, but they were olos. Now, when you give birth to either a male or a female, you have to bring a chatas and an ola. Now, if you had money, you'd bring an animal. But if you were poor, you could bring 2 birds. But you had to declare one was a chatas, one is an ola. And then the birds could come either they would be turtle doves or pigeons, 2 different types of birds. So we were dealing yesterday with if the Kohen didn't know what he did and they didn't know what they gave her, he ended up having to bring either 5 birds or 10 birds or 4 birds, right? We went through because it depends on from which type. So another case is Nosnan Lakoyen. She gave 2 pairs of birds because she owed Chatas and Anola for her obligatory korban, and she needed to bring 2 birds for the Ola. But Ve'ena Yodas Ma Nosna, she forgot what she gave. Did she give 2 pairs of turtle doves or 2 pairs of pigeons? And when the Kohen received these 4 birds, Holach HaKohen V'asa Ve'ena Yodeh Ma'asa, he forgot what he did. He didn't know, did he offer them as olos? Did he offer chatas and ola? So it's complete, on both sides, forgetfulness. Tzricha dalid freidim, he has to bring 4 birds, 2 of each type. Lindora, for her ola offering, because 2 of them have to be pigeons, 2 of them have to be turtle doves, because we didn't know what they were in the first place. And then, Shtayim l'chovais v'chatas, so a total of 6 birds, 4 plus 2. Because the chatas can be of either type. The ola there has to be 2 for the ola, and 1 chatas could be either type. So that's 7 birds. And benazai omer, you have to bring 8 birds because you have to bring beis chatos. Because he holds that when you bring a chatas ola combination, you have to do it in a specific order. The Chachamim say you don't. Okay. What was the whole point of us bringing this Mishnah? Amr Rabbi Yoshua, Zesha Amru, Kishu Chai Kolo Echad, Uchshumes Kolo Zayin. A ram, right, an ayil, when he's alive, he makes the sound of his voice. But when he's dead, in a sense, he makes 7 noises. For example, a ram has 2 horns. They made trumpets, 2 trumpets. His thigh bones, he has 2 of them. They were made into flutes, so he has 2 flutes. The skin of the ram was made into a drum. The stomach was made into a lyre, like a guitar, or a harp. The intestines were made into the strings of the harp. So that's 7. So that's the same thing. A woman initially made 1 vow, but she ends up bringing 6 or 7 birds. It comes out now that we had brought a previous Mishnah who said that according to Rabbi Yoshua, you could not transform an Ola into Chatas. Remember, we started this conversation that if you took an Ola, which you're normally supposed to offer above the line, and you did the Malika below the line, and you processed it as a Chatas, it becomes a Chatas. So previously, we said Rabbi Yeshua doesn't hold of this. But in this statement, that way Rav Ada Barava quoted it, he holds of it. So how does the Gemara resolve this contradiction? There the question was, right, while it's Hegdish, you're not allowed to use it. There's Me'ila. So sometimes during the processing of a korban, there's no more Me'ila. So in order to transform an Ola into a Chatas, to remove Me'ila, fine, he agrees with that. But if the woman has an obligation to bring a Chatas, and you're going to allow the Ola to transform to be a Chatas to fulfill the obligation, that he doesn't say. That he doesn't agree with. It's only regarding removing Me'ila that he made a statement for. Mishnah. Just as an introduction to this Mishnah, we've learned that in the Beis HaMikdash, birds were killed not by Shechita, by Malika. They took their thumb, which had a big nail, they grew their nail long, and they pierced the back of the neck of the bird. That's both by a Chatas and a Nola. There was a quest by an Nola, you have to divide both of the Simonim and separate the head. By a Chatas, you only have to cut one of the Simonim, but you have to do it with Malika. Now, normally, outside of the Beis HaMikdash, if you did Malika on a bird, it would be a nevela. Mm-hmm. The only way you can kill an animal is through shchita. For example, our chickens. We have chicken or duck. The shoichet shechts them with a knife. I spent once 6 hours at Chai Chickens in Toronto. I saw them shecht 8,000 chickens. Mm-hmm. They shechted 3 chickens every minute. It took them about 20 seconds. There was assistance. Anyways, but they used the shechita knife in the front of the neck. And if you kill a bird any other way, it's a nevela. And not only are you not allowed to eat it, if you put it in your mouth, you become tameh. It's metame tumas nevela. However, in the Beis HaMikdash, when the Kohen did the Malika, not only was it a kosher korban, it's a nevela. Now it's certainly not a nevela. But it had to be, now we're going to go through, what if there were invalidations? A non-Kohen does the Malika, or the Kohen does it in an improper way. They do it at night or whatever. What is the status of its tumah? Does it still become a nevela or not? That's what this Mishnah, and it's an important Mishnah. So, kol apsulin shemolkum likosam psula. Somebody who's not supposed to do the Malika, like a non-Kohen. We'll see what the Gemara says who's unqualified to do it. But simply would be a non-Kohen. So the Malika is not good. And the Korban would be puzzle. However, Eino Metamed Vesabliya. It does not become a Nevela and doesn't have Tumas Nevela. So even the Malika in the Beis HaMikdash of somebody who's not necessarily the qualified person to do it, yes, the korban is not good, and you can't eat it, but it doesn't have tumas nevela. Now, why? Because this malika was done in the kodesh. It was done in the azara. We're going to see that if you have a disqualification outside of the Beis HaMikdash, that's considered something that's done not b'kodesh. If something was done improperly b'kodesh, we've also had the following din that if you put something like that up on the mizbeach, inadvertently, we just said this korban is puzzle, which means you wouldn't put it up on the mizbeach. What if you did? The din is low yered. You don't take it off. Why? Because its invalidation was done by kodesh. Similarly, that anything where the korban would not be removed from the mizbeach in Allah lo sered, in all those cases, it would not convey tumas nevela. Now, let's say it was a Kohen that did it, but instead of doing the malika with his right hand, he did it bismol. Or balayla. You're supposed to do it in the daytime, not in the night. Let's say shochat chulin bifnim. Let's say the bird, let's say he has a bird and he shechts it. But it's chulin. It was not consecrated as a chatas or an ola. You brought a chulin dikket chicken into the azor and you shechted it. Or you had a chatas or an ola, a bird that was hugdash, but you shechted it outside. In all these cases, also, einon metamos bebeis abliya. They don't have tumas nevel. So the malika that was done with the left hander at night, because the psul dika thing that you did was din b'kodesh. And similarly, if you had placed it on the mizbech, you wouldn't take it off. What about the chulin inside? So that's a chiddush. You never do shchit on a bird in the azara. Only malika is done. Similarly, a chatas ha'of and an olas oaf, you never do shchita for. You always do malika. But shchita normally of a bird will not create an avela. That's how you shech normal birds. And similarly, if you take a chatas ha'of and you shecht it outside, it's considered a little bit like it's done by kodesh. Now, molak besakin. So we talked about that the normal process of malika is you did it, you pierced the neck of the bird with your fingernail. Now, what if you're in the back of the neck, you're not in the front. What if you take a knife and you do the malika from the back of the neck of the bird? That's not malika. It's also not a good shchita, because you got to do shchita from the front. So this becomes an avela, and if you put it in your mouth, you would become tamei. Or molak chulin bifnim. You took a chicken that was not consecrated, and you did malika on a bird in the azara, or you did malika on kochim bachutz, where it's not, the psul wasn't done b'kodesh. Or, for example, you did malika in the azara on torin shlogi zmana. They're too young, or bnei yona she'over zmana, or pigeons that were too old, or sheyav shagapa, the wing had dropped off, or shenismis eina, the eye was blind, shenik ragla, its foot's removed. In all these cases, this is a real nevela. It's completely disqualified as hegdish. And if you had put this up on the mizbech, you'd have to take it down. And therefore, metameh beis abliya. Similarly, it has tumas nevela, and you'd be tameh. Now the Mishnah gives a general rule. Zeh haklal. Kol shepsula b'kodesh. If the invalidation occurred in the Beis Hamikdash, like when it came in, it was completely roy, but somehow became psul as you processed it. In all those cases, eina metame beis abliya. It would not convey tumas nevel. Lo haya psula b'kodesh mitam beis habliya. But if somehow it doesn't occur through hegdish, through a normal hegdish process, it becomes a nevel. Amar Rav. Rav comments on our Mishnah, small v'layla, when the Kohen does it with his left hander at night, ein mitam beis habliya. The Mishnah said it does not create tumas nevel. That's straight from our Mishnah. However, zar v'sakin, if a non-Kohen did the malika, or the Kohen did the malika, but he did it with a knife, it is metame tumas nevel. In these cases, according to Rav, if you put these korbonis on the mizbech, you'd have to remove it. That was certainly seen in our Mishnah regarding a knife, but it seemed like a malika done by a non-Kohen in our Mishnah was exempt from tumas nevel. And the Gemara asked the following question. First, Mishnah small. Why do we say that if the Kohen did it with his left hand, there's a reason to leave it on the mizbech if they put it there, and there's a reason for why it's not metame tumas nevel? Why? The islay hechsher b'yom kippurim. There are avodot on Yom Kippur that the Kohen Gadol has to do with his left hand. He holds the machta, the pan for the coals for the ktoiris. The pan he holds in his right hand, and the spoon he holds in his left hand. Even though normally the left hand is disqualified for avodot, but not on Yom Kippur. So since there's a tzad on Yom Kippur, so there's a tzad that why on the small it's not considered a complete invalidation. Similarly, Laila, Islech Sher Bevar Mufdarim. Gentlemen, when you shecht any korban, you have to do it in the daytime. Chatis, Asham, Shlomim, any korban had to be in the zrika in the daytime. That now allowed you to eat the meat. If it was a korban that you could eat the meat, you could eat the meat once you did the zrika. Now, the parts of the korban that had to be burned, for example, the intestines, the chelav ala kloyos, the chelav ala ksolim, the fats, etc. Those could be burnt all night. So since we see Laila has a hechsher regarding certain avodot, so that's why it explains the Gemara, why the Mishnah says if you do Malik at night, it's not the worst invalidation. And therefore, if it was placed on the Mizbech by accident, it doesn't take it off. And it's not Metame Tumas Nevela. And now comes the punchline. Zar Nami Islay Hechsher B'Shchita. Why, the Gemara asks Rav, did you say that if a Zar, a non-Kohen, does the Malika, it's completely invalid? Why should that be? We know that Shchita of all Korbanos is kosher, bizarre. Chatis, Ashram, Oila, Shlomim, any korban, the shechita could be done by a non-Kohen. So in the same way that we established that doing something with the left hander at night has precedence where it's okay, same thing should be by Zar. And for the Gemara, shechita lav avoidehi. It's not a raya because shechita is not classified as an avoida. We see that because how do we kill chulin animals? We call it l'shchita. So it's not considered an avodah. Break the Gemara below. What? It's not considered an avodah? Bam Rab Zera. Shchitas para bizar psula. The para duma has to be shechted. And then you burnt it. Now, the shchita, if it's done by a non-Kohen, is possible. Umachvi Rav Allah, Rav explained why is that? Because it says Elazar, v'chuka. Zos chuka satorah. It has to be done by Elazar. So if a Kohen has to do it, and if a Zar does it, it's possible, it's clearly an avoda. Mar says no. Shiny part the kotche berek abayisi. We have two categories by kotchim. One is called kotche aguf. When you designate an animal to be a korban, we say Arezu Shlomim, or Arezu Chatas, and then it's offered on the Mizbeach, that's got Kedushas Aguf. On the other hand, if I donate an animal to the Beis HaMikdash and the Beis HaMikdash uses it to plow its fields, so that is called Kodshe Berek Habayis. It's a donation for temple upkeep. Well, interestingly, Paraduma doesn't have Kedushas Aguf. It has only Berek Habayis, and therefore you can't consider any of the processes for Berek Habayis to be an avoda. It should be a kal v'chomer. If Kodshe Berek Habayis boy kuhuna, if activities involving Hegdish that's Berek Habayis needs a koya, and so Kodshe is Berek boy. So certainly it should be considered a need for a Kohen to shecht animals that are going to be put on the Mizbeach. Rav Shesha Bred Ravidi, Midi Dahavi Amaris Nagoim. Not necessarily. Just because you require a Kohen for Paraduma doesn't say it's Navoda. Why? Who has to check Nagoim to say whether they're a neg or not? It's a Kohen. It has nothing to do with Avoda. The lav Avoda, you boy Kuhuna. It's an activity, but it's not an avoda in the Beis HaMikdash, yet it requires Kohen. So just because an act needs a Kohen doesn't mean it's an avoda. So Rav said that if a zar does the malika, it's invalid and it conveys tumah. What's a bama? So when the Klal Yisrael went into Eretz Yisrael, the first 14 years when they were fighting and dividing, the Mishkan was in Gilgal. During those 14 years, everybody could have a private mizbeach in their backyard called a bama, and they offered korbanos there. They couldn't do a chatas, that had to be done in the Mishkan. They couldn't do the korban Pesach, that had to be done in the Mishkan. The daily korban, but if they wanted to bring a shlamim, or they wanted to bring a korban olah, they could do it in their backyard. Now, who did it? Was it a Kohen? No. It was a regular Poshet Yisrael, a zar. Also, in the 57 years between when the Mishkan was destroyed and the Beis HaMikdash was built by Shlomo Melech, when the Mishkan was in Noven Givon, they also could do a bama. So the Gemara is saying, why don't we learn the fact that a zar is kosher and a bama, and then, so why should Rav invalidate if the zar does it? And for the Gemara, mi bama lo yolif. We cannot learn anything about the Beis HaMikdash from a bama. Frank, the Gemara of a law? What do you mean? Batanya. Let's say there's a limb of a korban olah that has been taken out of the azara. It's called yotzei. Now, the din is if you shouldn't put it up on the mizbeach, but if you did, you don't take it down. And how do we learn that from? Because a bama was outside the azara, and the whole korban was kosher. So we do learn certain principles that involve activity in the Beis HaMikdash from a bama. So the Gemara says we don't really learn it from a bama. Tana zos Torah sa'ola samech lein. There is a pasuk that says zos Torah sa'ola. It's learned from there that if it went up as an ola, it stays there, but not on it's just it's an asmachta, but it's not really learned from bama. In truth, you can't learn anything from a bama. So that's why Rav can sustain his argument that if the zar does the malika, it's still going to be it conveys tumah. Now that was the opinion of Rav. However, Rav Yochanan Omar, zar ain't metameh beis habliya. If the zar did a malika, there is no tumah. But sakin metameh beis habliya. But if you use a knife, Kohen or anybody does the malika with a knife, it becomes a nevela. Now let's look about what our Mishnah says about that. Kol hapsulin shamolku, if a pasul dika person did the malika, the malika is pasul, but we say there's no tumas nevela. So Bishmal Rav Yochanan, when it says kol, in the end of the Mishnah, it says kol apsulim, lasui zar. So it means to include a non-Kohen. It doesn't, it falls under the category where there's no tumas nevela. The problem is Rav, who says that if a zar does it, there is tumas nevela. What's the kol coming to teach me? Kol lasui mai. What is the kol including? Gemara answers Laisi small v'layla. The kol is talking about the invalidations of doing it with your left hander at night. So the Gemara says, what do you mean? The word, when it says kol apsulin, it's got to add something that wasn't mentioned in the Mishnah. Small v'layla badektani. Using your left hand in the night invalidation was mentioned directly by the Mishnah. What do I need kol for? Gemara answers, sometimes tani v'hoda mefarish. Don't ask a kasha. Sometimes when it says kol apsulin, it gives us a general klal. It'll repeat what it mentioned. It means lila and small. Even though it mentioned it, it doesn't always have to include something that's not mentioned. Okay. Toshma. Ze klal. Kol shay apsula b'kodesh. If the invalidation happened in the Beis HaMikdash itself, ein hamatamim b'kodem ha'Beis HaBliya. There, it does not convey tumas nevela. So Bishlam Rav Yochanan kol lasui zar. So we ask the same question. El Rav lasui mai. What is the call of this part of the Mishnah coming to include? And the Gemara will continue this kasha. Okay. Now, tomorrow, let's just tell everybody, we could do it at 8:15 in the morning, or we could do it at 3 in the afternoon. I think the people have preferred in the morning, but is that correct? Or would you rather do it at 3? You rather do it at 8:15 in the morning?
I don't know. Let's take a vote.
I would actually prefer to do it in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. But if everybody else wants to do it in the morning, I'll do it in the morning.
Well, can we show?
George, what works for you?
The morning is very tough.
Prefer.
Okay, so 3 o'clock is better for you. Abe, what is 3 o'clock okay for you?
It works.
Works. Johnny, is 3 o'clock okay for you?
It is. I
It
mean,
is.
I prefer the morning.
Mario, is 3 o'clock better for you than in the morning?
Any time
Either
you
way.
want.
Walter, it's okay either way?
Well, I'll go with the Rob.
Okay, let's do it at 3. Let's just try it this week. Let's try it at 3
I'm gonna
o'clock.
try. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try. In
Okay,
the morning,
let's try
can't
because
do it.
the morning you can't. So if you can try at 3, let's try 3.
Yeah, let's try.
What happens is 8:15. I got to go to work. For me, it's more problematic in the morning.
Okay.
We have to do it. We can do it, but let's try tomorrow at 3. Let's see how it works for everybody.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
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 Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Thank you.
Shikoach, Mazel Tov.